Oh, man. What a week. What a week. Let's go. Yeah, it'll go up right here. There we go. Better.
Did you watch any of the Charlie Kirk memorial today?
Bits and pieces.
I watched.
Bits and pieces.
I listened to it. It was like streaming and stuff, but actually the best connection because it seemed like it was kind of one of those things that crashed the internet.
Yes. Yes.
The best connection I got was actually Hulu on my phone, but I was like working in the yard, so I was just listening. I wasn't watching, but I had it up on Hulu. Like that was
Gotcha.
Because all the other streamings I tried to listen to, it kept buffering too much.
So Twitch, we're trying a new system for the microphone, so hopefully you can hear it okay. Maybe a little better than what it's been in the past.
Yeah, let us know if it's too soft or too loud.
I see it's echoey. I don't know what that means. Maybe turn it down just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Let them turn it up. Says louder is always better. So I'm trying a new cigar tonight.
Oh, a new one.
The Aladino Classico. I bought from the tobacco box in Rockwall on my points. They gave me two free cigars. So we're going to try it. A little bit darker than what I normally like to smoke, but that's okay.
Yeah, I've also got a dark one today, though. I've had one of these before recently, but the Rocky Patel Disciple. I liked it a lot, so I'm going that way again.
Yeah, so we're trying some new things again tonight, which we're trying to multi-platform stream, but that turns out to be a little more difficult and a little bit more expensive, if I'm being honest. It's not just like you can stream on individually one of them for free. Sometimes you can get to two, but the problem is Twitch is the only one that when we have enough followers to do it for free, you don't have to have a certain amount of followers. So like with TikTok, with YouTube, you have to have 100 to stream from a mobile device. So what we may do in the future is flip back and forth between Twitch and YouTube. And then maybe eventually we'll get to the others. So, what do you think about it? About the memorial?
I liked it a lot. I was thinking to myself, I didn't know what to expect. Right? I didn't know to expect funeral, political rally. I didn't know. So I liked it.
I'm in the same boat. We didn't watch it, but I was paying attention on the socials.
To me, like, I didn't know what to expect, but I didn't have a hard opinion on what I thought was appropriate, right? Because my assumption is that Erica and Turning Point basically put that program together, and whatever they thought was appropriate was good for me.
I guess I hadn't put that much thought into it, if I'm being quite honest. I just assumed that
Trump was good.
He was.
And I was a little worried about it, right?
Yeah.
Because
yeah,
he's going to go up there. A lot of like the Turning Point people speeches, the people who worked for Turning Point were close to Charlie. I'm sure their speeches got finessed a little bit, but you're not going to tell the president what to say. The president's going to say what he's going to say. And so I thought it was appropriate. I was a little worried. Just Trump saying Trump things. It's like, but it was good. It was good. JD's great. Man, that guy. I tell you what, the Republicans have a stable for November of 2028 of people that could, unlike the Democrats who have no one. But that guy can make a good argument. He's well-spoken.
Well, and I think I didn't catch his.
He's empathetic and well-spoken. Like that's a couple hard things to convey in political speech,
Yeah. Well, and I think he was hold on just a second. I think he was probably a little more passionate. I did catch like 2 or 3 seconds of it. It wasn't a ton, because he was actually close to Charlie, and so I think that's different. I think also I saw that this was larger crowds than Martin Luther King Jr.'s. I didn't do a ton of research on that because I don't really remember. I mean, obviously I wasn't alive, but I don't remember seeing where his memorial was held. And so I wonder, once they get all totaled and tallied and stuff like that, what that looks like. But man, security was tight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was tight up there. I don't know that you had to walk what appeared to be through a very large parking lot,
right,
to get even to it, and you had to walk, zigzag through that, and I'm sure there were all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
there.
Nobody parks close, and there was no bags. There wasn't a clear bag policy. It was a no bag policy. You walked in with what you had in your pockets, as long as that was okay.
Yeah, and I think that's appropriate, considering
you've
considering
got the government there. It's
every single cabinet member was there, of the upper cabinet. I mean, what I would consider
senior
to be the upper cabinet.
Senior
Yeah,
cabinet.
the senior
Say
cabinet.
not all of them, because you got to
me.
leave somebody behind.
The senior cabinet was there.
They're not allowed to be in the same room together. But you had Rubio and Hegseth, and of course, Trump and JD. I saw Tulsi was there. I saw RFK. I didn't see
Education
I didn't see
secretary.
Pam Bondi.
I didn't see her in the picture, but McMahon was there. I just think that it just goes to show. I know we're going to talk about it a lot, so we're just kind of hopping right into it. But it just fascinates me how this is all playing out and what this looks like long term. That's kind of where I'm at. How does this play out long term?
I feel like Turning Point and Charlie Kirk was something I was aware of, but didn't actually impact my day to day. I would catch his podcast every once in a while. I'd catch him on the radio every once in a while. He's on a local AM station here from 12 to 2. I think it's an hour late than what he normally actually records, but he does a daily radio show. That was one of the things that got brought up today, is that in the midst of everything else he's doing, he also does a radio show every day. I'd catch that every once in a while. I'd catch the podcast. I would catch him on other podcasts. I mean, we've played him on other podcasts. We've referenced him on Bill Maher's podcast, not his TV show. But that was kind of my interaction and knowledge of Charlie Kirk. So I believe Turning Point will continue on in strength. No doubt about that. With his wife Erica as a CEO, and you got your same staff there, and I think you'll have some other people picking up the torch. Everybody keeps saying there's not another Charlie Kirk, and they're right. That's the appropriate thing to say. I was listening to, it was a podcast, but they were going through a book about Churchill, and that's one of the things they said. There's never going to be another Churchill, right? And so you hear that said about prominent figures all the time, but it's really hard to find someone that smart who can deliver the argument, so who has the knowledge, can communicate the knowledge, and do it with a smile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben Shapiro's great. He's not Charlie Kirk. I don't know really who. They keep saying Turning Point's going to go on, and I have no doubt about that. I don't doubt that one bit. I think they'll go on in strength. And they say, you've created 100,000 Charlie Kirks, and you see that kind of imaging, but seriously, he is a unique guy to be that smart, that eloquent, and to do it all with a smile.
And be open to conversation.
Yeah. That's what I mean. A lot of people can get so defensive when their ideas are challenged. And he didn't. He just said, he was a very Socratic method. You know, he'd say, well, what do you think about this? Well, what about this? Well, have you considered this? You know, which is a very open way of debate. It's a very open style of debate. And you let people dig their own grave.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's just it's just a tragedy. There's just so much that goes into it that's hard to put into words.
Yeah.
If you will. And I'm not a wordsmith by any means, but I just feel like too, like this is something that's going to be bigger than what we can imagine. And where it plays from here, I just don't know.
I'll share this on our socials. I meant to grab the clip so we could play it here, but it's you've got several people reacting, you know, and so this was John Crist, who is a comedian but also has a podcast, and they just played this clip of Charlie, and it's a father and son that walk up. The son looks very emo, black piercings, things like that. The dad looks like a East Coast liberal. I don't know. You know what I mean when I say that?
Yes,
like, he just looks like an East Coast liberal.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Older dude. And Charlie says, why is your son conservative? Because the dad's not. But you look at the son and you think that dude's not conservative because it looks pretty emo, right?
Right.
And dad's like, I don't know where it wrong. And Charlie said, well, that's a horrible answer. Like, you need to know your son. And so Charlie says, do you think maybe that your son maybe doesn't trust government being in charge of everything and thinks that government needs to take a scaled back approach? And he's like, yeah, maybe that's it. And he looks at the son. He says, do you think maybe your dad grew up in a time where government provided a lot of assistance and a backstop that was necessary? And the son's like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He's like, so can you see how you can have different views, but never let that get in the way of the father-son relationship? And like, I can't do the clip justice, right? I should have clipped it and pulled it, but we'll share it on the social to watch. And it's just a great example of the type of conversations he had. And then John Crist, his reaction to that video is like, that guy, that's the guy you wanted? Like, that's the one you killed?
Yeah.
You know, they're like the nicest guy out there, able to make the argument, make it in a nice way where you really, you know, unless you're just complete psycho, you should walk away with that saying, yeah, I don't agree with that guy, but, you know, he did it in a nice way, in a kind way.
Right. Well, flipping back to who takes over talking points going forward, like it can't be Tucker. Ben Shapiro doesn't fit the mold. You know, apparently, I just found out this week, I thought him and Candace Owens were on the same page. Apparently, that's been a bit of a fallout.
I think Candace Owens is on her own page. She's kind of
gone way out there.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's going to be tough. As long as his wife is involved, it'll be fine long term.
Yeah, it's just you need that, and maybe she is. I don't know, but you need that person. For it really to continue, I think you need that person who can sit down and have that conversation and be that face. And that's what I don't know where you'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who can do it that well? You can find people who are smart. You can find people who can communicate, but to communicate with some empathy the way that he did. You know, it's really,
I think that's a big key for me too, because like when you listen to Tucker or you listen to some of these other that you would deemed conservative, political talking or podcast type is what I'm saying. There's not always empathy in their voice.
Right.
They do get worked up at times, but you couldn't send Tucker into Cambridge and have political debates.
No.
He just wouldn't do very well. He's smart enough to do it.
He is.
He can, but
he also gets off on tangents.
Yes, he does.
Where one thing, if you watch a lot of Charlie Kirk videos, is that he always brought it back to core truths.
Correct.
You know, and it's like, we can get off on this tangent over here, but let's get back to what's the question behind that question. Why do we think this way? And he always brought it back to the core and the why. It'll be interesting to watch. I hope they do.
Did you watch the Cowboy game?
A little. I was honestly more interested in, that's when the bigger speakers started coming up at the Charlie Kirk Memorial. So I flipped back and forth a little bit. The garage is now a 2 TV garage, so I had both both going. Audio on Charlie Kirk, but I had the game on the other TV.
You didn't miss much.
I know, it's nothing. Like
I have reserved myself to just take it a week at a time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, man, they could be so good, but then just they can't get out of their own way sometimes.
Yeah, and I struggle if I want them to be so good.
Like,
you just can't build a team by splitting the wins and losses every single year. Here's my take. Here you go. 1 minute on the Cowboys. They made the Netflix documentary about Jerry called The Gambler. All right? I haven't watched it yet. I've heard it's really good. I do want to watch it. I do like the background story and all that kind of stuff. To me, Jerry Jones is a gambler. He got a huge win with the Herschel Walker trade. Okay? Big deal. Went and got 3 Super Bowls after that. Might have could have had 4, except for Charles Haley and Dion. All right? Could have had 4 in a row. But he got 3. That's really great. Ever since then, he's just been chasing his losses. You've had a couple hits every now and again. But if you think about it from a gambler perspective, a gambler who goes out there and pretty much right off the bat has a big win, and then ever since then has just been kind of okay. But like chasing losses. But then every once in a while, you get the Dak and Zeke rookie season, and you're like, oh, we got something this year. We can go. We can do it. You get a couple seasons with Romo where, yes, I know they lost in the first playoff game, but those games, they weren't like a couple of years ago, the Green Bay division wild card loss. So I just think he's a gambler. And so something's got to give. And I don't care if Shoddy only has 1 season. I don't care. We've got some draft picks from Green Bay, which who knows what they're going to do.
I know. They lost.
They laid an egg today.
Yeah.
So I want them to lose a bunch too, because then our picks get higher. The Micah picks.
I'm just struggling to care until the playoffs happen. And if we don't get in the playoffs, then what's the point?
I mean, you're 1-2, and your 1 was a barely win against a washed-up Russell Wilson and the New York stinking Giants in overtime at the very end as a buzzer beater off the leg of Brandon Aubrey. That's your 1 win. Otherwise, you're 0-3.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like, kind of wish you could have lost that game too.
I don't know if I want to say that.
That's where I'm at. Because like it doesn't get you anywhere. You're not going to the playoffs this year. Yeah. Look at the schedule. Look who you're playing. It ain't going to happen.
And some of those teams are way better than what I thought they were going to be just watching the early part of this season.
I think this is a year where it's like there are so many teams that are past the Cowboys and so much better than the Cowboys. I hope that's a wake-up call to Jerry when he looks across the 32 teams in the NFL and says, man, we are bottom third. We stink.
But then we have what? At least 3 draft picks in the first round next year to start? Ours and their 2?
No, theirs were second.
Second.
And it's spread out, so it's 26 and 27.
Man, I just don't know. I'm real like we're gonna watch it. I'm gonna turn it on. We're gonna have it on. We're gonna listen. We're gonna watch.
Yeah.
And then CD going down. Like who knows how long he's gonna be out? It's a high ankle sprain.
Yeah. And I'm still like gonna watch, and they're still my team. Like I'm not abandoning the team. You're just trying to be realistic, which is not common for a Cowboys fan.
That is very true.
But also a couple days ago, I think the Thursday night game, me and my son were watching it, and he was like, I don't know, the Cowboys might do good against the Bears. And I'm like, yeah, I think they might be able to pull that one out. And like, we're so optimistic, typical, right? So typical. Yeah. Like I actually thought going into this, I'm like, they might win this one. And then I turned it on. I was watching. I was like, nope.
And in Diggs, man,
we're going to kick a field goal. And we're going to kick another field goal.
Diggs has got to step it up. I mean, he talks a lot of mess. and has talked a lot of mess, and he just keeps laying an egg after egg after egg.
Pickens did pick up the torch
for
today
sure,
when
and
CD went out.
And like, I don't think this is an offensive problem, but like then the counterpoint to that is, well, what if Micah was here? Well, Micah's not going to stop him from throwing it over the top.
No,
he's not, and so I don't know.
And he's not going to do anything in the fourth quarter.
No,
and this team's not good enough to be winning enough to not have to play in the fourth quarter.
So I digress. The Rangers are out. They got knocked out this week.
Yeah.
And then
got swept by the Trash Stros.
I know. I'm trying not to say the word hate anymore.
We'll allow it for the Trash Stros.
But I just don't like them. And then you have, Maverick season's coming up. Anthony Davis is back on the court, baby. I'm trying to be, even though we don't have Luka anymore, I'm trying to be locked in.
Stars are already in preseason.
Stars, they're an awesome
Do
game
you
yesterday.
remember a few months ago when we tried to actually be Stars fans for a little bit? We tried to talk about it on the podcast.
We tried. I mean, maybe, no, I'm not even gonna say maybe. It'll be a blip on the radar.
I'll pay attention to the Stars when they're in the playoffs again. I don't care. I got 6 months of hockey I'm not watching.
I will.
Unless I go to a game. Those are fun.
Yeah.
It's a different environment.
I
didn't watch or listen to much baseball this year, honestly. I usually will catch quite a few games on,
I told you
on the radio.
I canceled my victory. So now apparently the Rangers are going to take back full control of their streaming services. I caught a blip on it this morning. But it's like, if you can't, whoa, that was almost bad. It didn't get your leg, did it?
No.
If you can't watch it, how are you going to be a fan unless you're going to the dadgum stadium? And that's the thing too. Like, if you're in the entertainment industry, you have to be able to have people watch it, or people don't get engaged, and then you've lost an entire generation of fans. Like, my son loves baseball, and I would love to be able to sit and watch it with him, but not at, either $20 a month through Victory, and then half the time it didn't work. It's just frustrating.
Well, Monday of last week is when they were going into the Trash Stro series, and we had some people over, and I was like, hey, the Rangers and Astros game isn't streaming. That's a playoff deciding game, like series.
Yeah.
Because that's who we were competing with for the spot, right? So if we win those games, then we're in, and they're out. They're pushed down. And it wasn't.
It wasn't on.
No.
You had to go to the app.
Yeah.
You just got to put it on local channels too, though.
Yeah.
Like, if you just put it on 27 or 21 or the local, like, network places that are here, like the local channels, then at least the local people can watch it. But I don't know. I digress. It's been a rough week for sports for the Dallas fan. Unless you're a Stars fan, then it was a good week. Buc-ee's is back in the news.
Buc-ee's, Colorado. I saw an article about that. Apparently, it's like going through. Like, Buc-ee's and the town have gotten an agreement. It's just people protesting it now. And so now they're saying that it would affect the landscape and wildlife. I don't know, maybe. Like, you figure the migrating wildlife would just migrate a little bit further to the side of it. But I don't really know the migratory patterns of wildlife that well. So, but they're saying now that where they want to build the Buc-ee's is right where apparently the wildlife migrate.
Birds?
No, like elk and whatnot.
But it's right on a highway.
They didn't talk about that.
I don't know. I think these people are crazy.
I think they just don't want a Buc-ee's for some reason. I don't know why. Because, like we said, everybody should have a Buc-ee's.
I just think that these people just want something to protest.
It's near one of the oldest continually operated Colorado cattle ranches. I don't care about that. Like, it's near a cattle ranch. So, who cares, right?
Is aimed at restoring seasonal movement of elk.
They sell brisket. It's like
prong deer.
Don't they call that farm to table? Like it's next to a cattle ranch. They sell brisket sandwiches.
Yeah. And right next to the Pike National Forest.
Yeah, so it's like next to that. Okay, it's next to a couple things, not on those things.
And that ranch is 21,000 acres.
That's a pretty good size.
That's a large.
Buc-ee's are not that big.
No, not compared to that.
One of the most consequential conservation corridors in the United States.
Okay, well, the impact of 24/7 high-intensity facility would undercut the values of Coloradoan paid to protect.
Oh, talking about the highway. See? An overpass on I-25, the highway, north of the proposed Buc-ee site is aiming at restoring seasonal movement for elk, mule deer, and pronghorn between the state's eastern plains and the Pike National Forest. They're building an overpass for the elk. How are the elk going to know to use the overpass?
This is not the first place that I've seen do something like that.
They talk about it on the West Wing. Have you still watching it?
I'm like episode 8.
Yeah, you're not there yet.
Not there yet.
But there's an episode where he tried to do this for like wildlife and wolves, and CJ, the press secretary, just laughs at him.
But how are you going to do that?
It would fundamentally change how the public and the wildlife experience this unique landscape.
We've talked about light pollution on the pod before, but I just don't feel like Buc-ee's puts off that much light.
They're worried about the light?
I mean, that's kind of what I'm taking from that. I mean, when it says 24/7 high intensity facility, I mean, light.
I think they mean traffic. It's going to bring a lot of people that spot a lot of car traffic. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Not anymore. That's already passing through.
Right. Like I think if for those things, like we go to Buc-ee's every day because there's one in our town. But otherwise, I think it's people that would be driving that way anyway. I don't. People are thinking like, let's head over to Kansas and go up 35 instead.
Is Bluey the Wolf a West Wing thing?
Yeah, there was a wolf's name. I don't think it was Bluey. Maybe it was. But it
Twitch
was
is asking, or the Twitch said it was.
And but it got killed though.
Oh, because it got hit.
That was no. I think it got shot.
Oh no!
That was actually
spoiler alert.
The twist.
Spoiler alert.
The twist of that section of the episode.
So, we started off a little bit heavy, but if you listen back to episode 41, we talked about Poopgate.
Poopgate
at the elementary, and the poopatrator apparently is still on the loose.
I thought the poopatrator got identified.
Well, I don't know. It's unclear. But they scared the kids of like, hey, like you have to go in partners, all this stuff. So you have to go to the bathroom in partners. And it hasn't happened again. So
well. Okay.
Just a little update. I thought I'd update you on that.
It's just everything I hear when you talk about Poopgate is reason number 743. I'm glad I don't teach elementary school. What'd you deal with today? Oh, the kid was pooping on the floor. We thought we caught him, but then he started up again.
Or someone did.
Someone.
Maybe
it's a copycat.
It's a copycat.
It's a copycat criminal.
Oh, it says Pluie.
Yeah.
Big block of cheese of day.
Big, yeah, Pluie.
Yeah, I just, God bless elementary teachers. I just couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, for sure. We'll find the clip. Mark that down too. We'll find the clip, the West Wing, and post it.
Okay, I got you. I'll find it. Yeah, kind of some other, before we hop into the Jimmy Kimmel stuff of the day, because that was the big news of the week. Trump was interviewed this morning by Peter. Is it Peter Berg at Fox News? Is it Peter Berg?
Peter Doocy.
Peter Doocy. I don't know where Berg came from. Peter Doocy, and he asked Trump if you could have one meal for an entire week, what would it be? And I was hoping he was going to say McDonald's. Like I was anticipating him saying McDonald's, but he said no, he could eat steak. He could eat steak for an entire week.
Yeah, I could.
I could too.
I have.
It just gets expensive.
It does.
But I could too.
That was one of the biggest draws when I did carnivore for 30 days. I was like, I just get to eat steak. Steak and eggs.
Steak and eggs. That's what I had this morning, actually. And then some other lighter news. Well, not really lighter news, but Trump is considering raising the retirement age. There was not a number given, but this is to keep Social Security solvent.
Yeah.
So we talked about that a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
The government shutdown is looming. September the 30th, I believe, is the deadline, right?
Yep.
So they have to have a deal by October 1st. Democratic leadership wants to meet with Trump this week. They have sent him an official letter to meet with him.
Yeah.
I texted you and I'm like, I hate talking about government shutdown because it just feels like it's the same conversation every single time. I mean, they had a stopgap in place, but it just like it was voted down against, and I can't stand that. It's like when your kids, we both have a lot of kids, like when your kids get into an argument and like as the parent you're kind of like they both really kind of have a point and you don't really want to pick a side, but both of them have points and you're just like, I don't know, just figure it out. Yours may not be old enough for that just yet, but
Oh no, 100%.
it's like, come on guys, figure it out.
I make them stand behind little lecterns I built and have a debate. Shouldn't come as a surprise in this
That
household.
does not come as a surprise at all. That doesn't.
All right. First affirmative. Start your speech. You have 3 minutes. Not really. I wish.
You have a little clicker.
I wish.
But it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, we want all this for special programs and we want to spend. And then this side is like, oh, I don't think we should do that. I want this, and this. And it's
if
like
you
polar
don't,
opposite.
If you don't spend that money, you're killing people.
Yeah. And it's like,
that's like we talked about last week. You got to make it sound worse than it actually is so you get people on your side. Back to the retirement age, it is going up. So tell you how slow things happen. In the 80s, Reagan signed a law to raise the retirement age from 65 to 67. And in a couple of years, we'll finally get there. That's how long it took.
oh my goodness. What year was that?
I think it was early in his presidency. So I'm going to guess 83, 82, 83, 84.
Oh my goodness.
They raise it from 65 to 67. And so it goes up in November usually. And I think it goes up again next year and it'll get to 67, like a couple months at a time. But it only affects people, obviously. It doesn't kick anybody off the rolls. If you're right at that age, it starts fresh with a new crop of retirees or retirement age people. But like we talked about on the pod, like entitlements are not solvent. Like they just aren't. So you got to do something about it. I thought I saw where Trump's, I forget his title, but he's basically the head honcho over retirement benefits, kind of walked back the Trump comments, said like, yeah, we're not doing that. So on the one hand, it's Trump saying Trump things. On the other hand, it's like, no, this has to happen. But that's the thing. It's the third rail of politics. Nobody's going to touch it. Nobody's going to touch like, oh, okay, let's raise the retirement age. No. But you have to. You got to do something. It's not solvent otherwise. So what are you going to do?
April 20th of 1983.
83. See, I was close.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're close. Man,
Yeah. 40 years ago, it'll take us over 45 years to raise the retirement age by 2 years.
So they raised it by 2 months.
Yeah.
They've been raising it slowly by months or 2 months.
So 2 months a year takes 6 years to get. No,
it's more than it's less than that.
Yeah, it's less than that. Because it took
Christ.
45 years to get there. Oh man.
Obviously I don't plan on ever having it, so I'm not too terribly worried about it, but it's like
I don't think I'll ever have it and I pay into it. Like I'm paying for other people to have retirement. It's a literal Ponzi scheme. Like people throw that word around as like a hot button topic, but it is a literal Ponzi scheme because the principal being paid in by the current workers is paying for the investments of the retirees, which is literally what a Ponzi scheme does. So if you have somebody who does a Ponzi scheme, the person spends all the money they got at the beginning. And so when those people want to start withdrawing their funds or need to see their earnings, the person has to keep getting new investors. And so all the new working class are the new investors. And so what we're paying in is going to pay the retirees, when actually the retirees should pay in. That money should grow as it's invested in like a retirement account. The government can't do anything right. You could take that money, and plenty of people have said this and done the math on it. Take that money you pay in Social Security, put it in a good, long-term, like a mutual fund, like an equity, not single stocks. You'll make so much more money. And that's what, W talked about that.
Yeah.
Which Al Gore had to come in and say, I'm going to put your Social Security in a lock box. If you want some good humor, look up the Tennessee Al Gore talking about lock box. And then the SNL skit they did on it was hilarious. That was Daryl Hannah who played W, right?
Uh-huh.
No.
I don't remember.
No,
but I know he did
played,
at one point.
He played Al Gore. It was, who played, or maybe he played W. Now, Dana Carvey as H.W. Bush was golden.
So, speaking of W, did you happen to watch that clip I sent you?
I did.
So, there's these, actually my wife sent it to me. There's these clips going around.
He had some good ones.
Of like gaffes that he's had, like had we had social media like we have now. I just can't imagine some of the things that he said if it were, front page TikTok and like the things that people say now. If that was the same back then, he just said some wild things. And not necessarily bad, just out of context. You're like, what in the heck are you talking?
And like he'd lose his train of thought. It made me want to walk back some of the hate I had for Biden, honestly, when I watched it. I was like, well, maybe it was. It was a totally different ball game. But when he would just lose his train of thought, I'm like, dude, like we get so hard on Mitch McConnell and Biden for doing that.
Well, and then like the shoe throwing incident.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
he got some moves.
He did.
He dodged it twice.
He dodged it twice. And then just to think about that now, just how could that even have happened? And then we have that now.
Trump would have caught it and thrown it back.
He probably would have. And now TikTok is set to get an American version, according to the negotiations with Trump and the Chinese.
Believe it when I see it.
I'm right there with you. That's just the report of the week. But yeah, that's kind of the crux of the news for the week. I don't know if you want to. Do you want to put up Harris? We didn't talk about her book at all.
I think I'm actually going to read it now. Pray for me.
I will. I'm not going to read that.
I think I will.
I have too many books I got to read now, so I can't read that too. Maybe in the summer.
I feel like there are some nuggets in there.
Well, as she said, do we have that one? I see it's on the slides. She said that she didn't really want Tim Walz.
Yeah.
Basically,
I saw that story.
I saw the story
this
too.
week. I got to get all the way at the bottom.
She basically wanted Pete Buttigieg. Here we go. Let's play it, and then we'll kind of talk through it. Didn't realize it was 9 minutes long.
No, it's just the first part.
Vice President Kamala Harris's upcoming memoir continues to draw headlines. Last week, an excerpt from the book revealed
Twitch,
that
can you
Harris
hear that?
thought it was reckless
Can you
for
hear
Joe
the
Biden
video?
to run for re-election.
Now the Democratic nominee is reflecting on her choice for her running mate. Per an excerpt from The Atlantic, Harris says former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was her first choice for vice president, but that picking a gay man was too risky. She writes that Buttigieg, quote, would have been an ideal partner if I were a straight white man, but we were already asking a lot of America to accept a woman, a black woman, a black woman married to a Jewish man, knowing what was at stake. It was too big of a risk. And I think Pete also knew that, to our mutual sadness.
Harris ultimately picked Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. The short list of other candidates included Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear and Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro. When asked about the excerpt, Buttigieg had this response.
Well, I was surprised when I read that. I just believe in giving Americans more credit than that. My experience in politics has been that the way that you earn trust with voters is based mostly on what they think you're going to do for their lives, not on categories. And I wouldn't have run for president if I didn't believe that.
Can I just be real honest with you? I don't care about that kind of stuff. Like, that's a terrible take by her, by the way. Like, she should have picked the best candidate. And like,
Can you like flip it? Like Trump. I would have picked the gay guy for my running mate, but I would have lost.
yeah, that's
That's
what she
what
said.
she's saying.
That's what she's saying.
If I'd have picked the gay guy, I would have lost. So I picked Tim Walz instead, who is just a picture of masculinity. Like, come on, man. The dude who doesn't know how to hold a shotgun.
Well,
and then proceeds to go out for a photo op holding a shotgun. Like, here's the problem. If you don't know how to hold a shotgun, buddy, that's fine. But don't try to do a photo op to try to get the vote of rural male America with a shotgun.
Well,
or take some lessons first or something. I don't know.
I think it was Stephen A. Smith this week. I know he's on the run sheet too. But like he said, like, own your campaign.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, he said that the book is basically, again, neither one of us have read it, so we're just kind of going off of commentary. But like, he said that
Maybe I'll get the audiobook.
Is it her reading it?
I don't know.
I couldn't do that. But basically, he said that she just spends the entire book blaming everybody else for the campaign failure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm sure we'll get the nuggets like this as they come out. Everything else is probably not
I don't
worth
think there's
reading.
going to be anything else come out about it.
Well, there was something else. What was it? There's been a couple things. It was the VP pick. Oh, yeah. She also talks about Biden called her before her first debate with Trump and was like, I don't support you. I think that's in this. I should have let it keep playing because I think they talked about that in that same news story.
I just can't believe that. You're talking about Biden. I know, flipping gears a little bit, he's struggling to fund his presidential library. Have you seen this?
No.
So he's been calling the big donors.
I did see he's putting in Delaware.
Yeah, he's been calling the big donors who donated to his campaign and then also to the Kamala campaign. And basically, the report that I read was like, no, you blew $1 billion.
Yeah. Like they had these donors, imagine they're like, I had to give all this money to Biden and then we switched gears 100 days out and I had to give all this money to Harris to try to win. And most of those guys are also giving a lot of money to the Republicans. They're hedging their bets. They're giving money. They're giving money to both sides, and then whoever wins, I gave you money. Like, if I'm going to give $100 million, you know, that's a lot of money. Like, I don't know anybody's really doing that, but if I'm going to give $100,000, I'm going to give 50 to Kamala and 50 to Trump, and I gave you both 50.
I'm gonna have to see if she actually did read the book, because that might be worth listening to.
No, it would be not worth listening to.
It might be entertaining. It might be entertaining because
She'd be the only one laughing, if you know what I mean.
yes, yeah. Oh, she did narrate her audiobook.
Yep. I'm out.
Narrated by, oh man.
I was only in for about a minute. All right. And then I was like, no, I ain't doing it. I'll just wait for these little clips to come out.
The Truths We Hold, An American Journey is also narrated by her, and now The 107 Days is released in an unabridged audiobook. So, anybody that listens to the pod, if you listen to that, hit us up.
Hit us up.
Because I'm not doing that.
There's something else too. There's been a few things that have come out, and so it makes me say, I kind of want to read it.
It says, I'm sure the Twitches says the audio book is probably interspersed with her dumb laughter. You're probably right.
That's what I was getting at. Yes.
I mean, her mumbles too, I'm sure. Golly, that's going to be terrible.
But in a book.
I mean, maybe they would edit it out. I don't know. They are good at editing things.
Yeah, we know that. Making her look great.
So the big news of the week. Hold on. That's a very valid point, Twitch. It says it wasn't funny when she was the prospective leader of our country, but now it's a funny story that we can tell at our parties. That's a very valid point.
It is, and like, say this carefully.
I think
she's not.
Go ahead.
She's not unqualified. Okay, but she's not the best choice.
100%.
Like, I'm not saying that she wasn't an attorney general of a large state, wasn't a senator. I'm not saying any of that. Like, I don't think that alone qualifies you, but if you're the Democrat Party and you say, okay, this is what we're putting up there, it's not that she was, in their eyes, unqualified, but definitely not the best choice. But do you think, my goodness, Tim Walz took away from her electability. But if you put a Josh Shapiro up there,
I think if you put however you say his name.
But like, then you come back to it wasn't close.
No. That was not going to, him running as her running mate would not have swayed the election.
No. It was not close.
However, Walz being her running mate was part of the push to the other side. It did hurt her.
It did. Yeah.
And that's like, you can go and look at any poll
because
and any person that was polled during that time, and you can find that information. That's not new news.
Because aside from what I just said, coming from the Democrat, like the hardline Democrat donor perspective of that she was qualified but not the best choice. So I think that's why they still gave the money. If you're a swing voter, like, you've got someone you don't think is qualified, and then you've got a liar who's lied over time, multiple times, and been caught in it and continues to lie as the running mate. So nobody feels secure voting for that ticket.
Nor should they.
What's the Twitch saying that we can't say on air?
Nothing bad. I was just making sure that my battery was going to stay charged, and I got plenty of battery left. Nothing. It's just it's something that will go down in history as one of the worst campaign gaffes of all time.
I mean, yeah, I think Biden's presidency and then that campaign. And it is, I sent you a thing from Gavin Newsom this week, and your response was he's imploding. Like, he jumped out way too quick.
Yeah.
And then he took it to the nth degree and tried to do the Trump thing. Like, he tried to mimic Trump, but you can't mimic the dude.
I think it goes back to like what we've been saying with Charlie Kirk, though, too. Like, you can't replicate that.
Yeah.
And so, like, you can't go from the same playbook and continue to do that.
Hilarious and dumb all at the same time, because it's the thing they don't like about Trump.
Yeah.
Is like his tweeting style and his talking style. And Gavin Newsom thinks that if he has this Twitter account that's his press office and he starts talking like Trump, like, what's that going to do for you?
Nothing.
Like, we asked that question whenever we first started talking about it weeks ago, and we're like, this isn't going to last. And sure enough, it hasn't.
Well, and also, like, I think in Trump's first presidency with Mike Pence being the vice president, he was I don't ever remember seeing him in public. Like, I don't remember ever seeing his face out there. I don't remember him, definitely not near what J.D. Vance is.
Right.
And so it's almost like, as many of the other things that they've learned from the first presidency, they're now starting to put the next potential person out there. Whether it's Vance, whether it's Rubio, I mean, heck, whether it's Gabbard or Hegseth or whomever.
It was never going to be Pence.
No, it wasn't.
Because Pence wasn't Trump's guy.
No.
He'll say it was because he wants to be the guy who made the decision. And that's to the point we were making earlier about owning the campaign. He will own his campaign. And he'll own his presidency in his first term. But that was not his pick. That was the establishment pick because he's not an establishment guy. So like we talked about this, he got Pence. They set him up with a bunch of longtime Republican type people in the first cabinet, his first administration, and all those people wound up stabbing him in the back.
And I think that goes back to what we've talked about last week at the end of the episode with Kash Patel. Maybe it was the week before.
Yeah.
I can't remember now. Where like Patel went up, presented everything that the FBI had, and openly admitted, hey, we shouldn't have released openly admitted the mistakes that were made. But heck, they still caught the guy in 33 hours.
Right. That's the thing.
And so as these Democratic leaders are railing on him in this committee, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, it took 33 hours and they had the guy.
Right.
And so like that to me is a victory.
Yeah.
And so I just think that a lot of it goes back to he's on the opposing side and they don't like him.
Yep.
So is that. So I think that was about it.
Have you seen any more that's come out? A lot more has come out this week about the shooter and like the Discord messages.
Yes. So
and how you
do you want to talk about that?
How he wanted to be taken in.
Yes.
He's afraid of being shot.
Yes.
So he
the irony of that, huh?
Yeah. So he arranged for a peaceful transfer
to the sheriff,
yeah,
who was somehow connected to the
right.
minister that of the dad.
That's where
that kind of gets a little bit like that part of the story definitely tells me that okay, hold on, I have a lot of thoughts on this. I wasn't 100% sure we were going to talk about this. That tells you that this community is a tight-knit community, and as soon as that happened, that dad had a pretty big suspicion that it was his son.
Yeah.
He immediately texted him and said, "Where's your grandfather's gun?"
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The next thing is
But did you see he tried to cover it?
He did try to cover it.
Hey, Grandpa just wants pictures, wants to know where stuff's at.
Yeah.
Which, you got to think like you don't want to spook him.
Right. Well, and that also tells you that dad knew his son.
But they showed a picture of it, and that's not a very common rifle.
No. And it's an expensive one.
Yeah, that's an heirloom.
Yeah. And so there was that. But then also I saw people talking about how the kids don't talk like that in today's society. Now, I will say this. If you don't have experience with that type of kids.
See, I didn't think about that. Like when I heard that, I wasn't thinking like people don't talk like this. Like
they do. Like those,
especially when you're scared out of your mind.
You're scared out of your mind. That also, but then also that group of kids talks like that. In that type.
What's his age again?
He was 22-ish. Okay. I don't remember exactly. He was in his early 20s. But you're talking about the flamboyant type. I'm trying to be nice, but like, you see what I'm saying? Like you're in that community of like where you talk like that. Like people in those communities do talk like that. And so it's like, I didn't have a, like, that was not the first thing that came to my mind. Now, if you're asking a football player, they're obviously not talking to their roommate that way. And if you're in an all guys text message group, that's not going to be talked about like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so it's just those things that are coming out. I can totally see that happening. Like as far as like the text messages.
Yeah. So I've got this, a friend of mine I went to college with made a really good post, and I'm going to read it. So this is, first of all, the message from the shooter in the Discord. It says, "I'm wishing I'd circled back and grabbed it," talking about the rifle, "as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle." And my friend wrote this. He says, "I need to say something to my conservative brothers. Giving your children or grandchildren an inheritance of guns will not make them great Americans. And I don't care if you're Chris Kyle or Captain America. Giving your son your father's Mauser," the type of rifle this was, "will not make him the type of man your father is. It will not turn him straight, conservative, or to Jesus. I understand wanting to have a legacy of manhood, but you, responsible gun owner, are responsible not just to keep your firearms out of the hands of thieves and vagabonds, but also your wicked or unstable offspring." One of the reasons I was praying for this father so much, it's because whenever I saw that rifle, I knew it was an heirloom. A Mauser 30-06 is not the choice of a hitter, it's a choice of a deer hunter from 1960. And I've had a pretty good idea of the type of man who gave his son an heirloom and what he hoped it would be. And like, there's a lot to talk about in the gun discussion about that. Like, there's so much truth in that. Like, I don't know. This kid's 22. He could have went and bought a Remington 700 at the sporting goods store also.
Right.
If he had a few $100, probably nothing comes back on a background check. Don't know anything yet about the kid for him to be able to do that. And like, there's so much truth in that about, I've got 3 boys, and one of them this past week was looking at my gun safe, of course, closed and locked up. But he said, "You've got a lot of guns in there, Dad." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And then like I had seen that post, and so I took a minute to sit down and talk to him and be like, and some of them are just whatever, but some of them are nice ones, and like those could be yours or your brother's someday, but and then you've got to be responsible. And he's like, "I know." And he started going down the rules because he has a BB gun. It's also locked up, but he knows the rules, right? And so he went down the firearm safety rules with me because he knows them so well, and they've been drilled in, and we talk about it all the time. And I was just thinking, like, all of these high-profile shootings, and how many times do they get the weapon from their own house, from the parents?
Yeah.
And like it's got to give every responsible gun owner pause to say, you can hand a lot of things down to your kids. When you hand that thing down, that's a big deal.
Yep.
And you've got to have and it sounds like this kid turned over the last couple of years. Sounds like before that it's pretty straightforward, maybe more than a couple of years, but going through high school anyway, this wasn't who this kid was.
Correct.
There's been other people he went to high school with who have attested to that, but hey, grew up in a home, pretty stable kid, then went off to college, and that's what happened. So I don't know, not trying to judge the father too hard, but it's like he knew his son and made a kind of a turn to this. And I don't know if like that's when you go over and say, "Hey, I'm gonna hang on to Grandpa's rifle." But who thinks about that?
No. Yeah. And I think
just trying to be like real, and I'm not trying to hate on the dad, right? I'm just who thinks about that?
No one. To be frank, no one.
Yeah. And to be fair.
And like, to be fair to that dad, like, kudos for him.
Yeah.
Kudos to him. And I think that is the underbelly of this story, in my opinion. Like, the fact that the dad and the men that the dad was surrounded by did the right thing also.
Yeah.
They didn't hide from it. They went out, found the kid, and turned him in.
Yeah.
I mean, because how many parents... I see this a lot where parents just... Again, not to this extent. This is the far, far, far extreme, right? In this case.
Yeah.
But like, how many times do you see parents bail kids out?
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't mean that every kid is going to be this. In fact, 99.9999999% of the kids are not. But this started somewhere.
Yep.
And so like, how do you avoid that as a parent? Like, how do you avoid making those when they're 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, not bailing them out of a situation so that way they learn? Mm-hmm. And so many times you just see parents bailing kids out, and the school districts try to help. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been a part of a situation where like the district is trying to help a kid and the parent comes in and just bails them out in various ways, right? Blaming the district for something that isn't true, or saying, well, my kid would have never done that, or putting the blame elsewhere. And so, most cases, just kids being kids. You know,
we ran into that one time with one of our kids and one of their friends, and their parents were saying like, they wouldn't do this, they don't lie. And I was like, is this your first one? It's your oldest, right? Yeah, it is. Oh, okay, yeah, actually. Yeah, when the adults are in the room, we're not going to assume any of the kids are telling the truth. There's kids.
Yeah.
Try not to get in trouble.
Well, and not only that, that's their nature.
Yeah.
Their nature is to avoid that.
And they have to be taught to own up to stuff.
Yeah.
And then when they do, they've got to be treated accordingly, that you owned up to it. I don't know.
And that's something that we don't preach enough, is truth telling.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that in our household we do, because it's like, you better tell us the truth.
Yep.
Because the truth, you're going to get in trouble, because guess what? I'm going to find out some way or another. You better tell me the truth, because if you don't tell us the truth and we find out that you were lying to us, that's going to make it 100 times worse.
Yep.
And so
I always make that distinction whenever, kids are losing consequences, being disciplined, whatever it is, that if we found out about it and they lied about it, we always make that distinction like, hey, if you had told us about this, there would still be consequences, but now there's this kicker, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because you lied about it.
Yeah.
You're always better off just to come tell us.
And I think that there's going to be so many layers to this story as it unfolds, and this will not be the last time we talk about it. In fact, we're about to spend probably the next 45 minutes talking even more about it. But it's something that there's so many different angles that you can take from this, that every single demographic of the country and of the world can get from it.
Right.
It is very interesting, though. All of it. All of it. It's sad. It's a tragic story. But I think after the events of today and what I'm seeing across the demographic of kids that I work with, I think this really might be a change coming.
Mm-hmm.
That's been there. It's been there for probably the last 3 years. And it just needed a spark.
Right.
Or something to happen to make it okay to step out of their comfort zone.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality.
Yeah.
And I just hate that it had to be this.
Yeah.
Because there's a definite, like, you could feel it in my high school. Like this week, you could feel it.
Mm-hmm.
That it's different.
Yeah,
it's hard to explain. Like, unless you're in that environment, and people who are teachers will know, like, when something happens in a high school, that something changes. Like, the mood changes, the tone of the school changes, the whole vibe is the best way to put it, is different. And this is one of those moments that changed it.
Right. Yeah. When the day it happened, when I got home from work, my oldest asked me, like, did you know Charlie Kirk died? And I was like, I did not expect you to be bringing that up to me first. But of course, she'd heard about it. Of course, she knew about it. She knew who he was, And so, yeah, that's the part that it's like, we've talked about what happens next. That's the part that I'm excited to see.
Yeah, me too.
To see what this could be.
So see you at the polls this week.
Oh, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see those numbers as they come across. I mean, it's always been pretty big in this area.
Yeah.
As far as like numbers of kids that show up. But it'll be interesting to see how the approach is different or how the church handles that.
Yeah.
So, all right, you ready to talk about freedom of speech? You ready?
Yeah.
So one of the other things that Clint and I talk about on a regular is that we're very glad that we don't record this every week or every night or how more often. I've had some bad takes on this. I mean, just flushing thoughts, flushing ideas and things, and you're a confidant of mine, and so I'll send you a thought, and you're like, yeah, man, that's not.
It's not what I say.
That's not what. That you're very nice about it, but you could say that was
the spirit of Charlie Kirk. Ask questions.
Yeah, like, are you sure that's what you mean? Maybe. I'm still thinking through it.
Yeah.
But I had some bad takes this week on some of this stuff, so I'm glad I was able to flesh it out through text message and not on a microphone. So what did Jimmy Kimmel say this week or last week?
Let's play it. His actual words. That's always the best way to do it.
By the way, Twitch can hear the video.
Sweet.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
So that's the statement. He said other things, of course, about Charlie Kirk, but that's the one he says on Monday night, which by Monday, we knew about this guy.
Right.
He was arrested on Friday.
Right.
You got the whole weekend of everything coming out. Like, they knew that this kid had been radicalized, turned left, and then Jimmy Kimmel goes, and they record in the afternoons. Like, that's all pre-recorded, right? They show the late shows at night. They record them in the afternoon every day. And he goes on and says that. And then Tuesday just does another show, says some other stuff, but doesn't come back and apologize or just issue the correction. Like, that was a step too far. Where he goes with that was the actual joke. Like, he could have done that. Then I could have kept playing it. But basically, a reporter asked Trump, how you feeling about Charlie Kirk? I know he's a friend of yours. And Trump's like, you see all the trucks over here? We're building the big, beautiful ballroom. And that, like, that's the joke, right? That is funny. That is typical Trump. Like, you could do that and make the joke, fine, whatever. You could say, like, his joke could have started with talking about the flags going to half mast and then cut to what Trump said. Like, you know, we've talked about this before. I'm of the opinion everything is funny. I can laugh at anything. But like Stephen A. Smith said, the first part where you're saying how MAGA is trying to make this about anything other than it was one of theirs that did this, where's the joke? That's not a joke.
Right.
Like the old adage is for every joke has to have some element of truth to it for it to be funny.
and there's, yeah.
That's as bad as the MSNBC one saying it could have been somebody shooting off their gun in celebration.
Yeah.
Which they were also fired.
Yes.
Dowd, a Texan.
When I first listened to it, I'm like, okay, that's bad taste. You know, like that's what when I saw it on Tuesday, I was like, okay, when it first started kind of breaking that he was going to get fired, I went back and I saw the clip and I'm like, that's really not that, you know, that's not that like out there for a late night, more liberal talk show host.
Yeah.
The problem came in though is when Nexstar came out
and based in Irving, based in the DFW Metroplex,
and said that they were going to remove his show from their ABC affiliates.
Yeah.
And then the story came out that it wasn't that he just refused to apologize for it because it was a mistake, right? He could have just come out and said, hey, we had some bad information.
He was told by the executive producers that he had to come out and correct it. And he said no, and that he was going to come down and double down and blame MAGA for even having him go to correct it. Because there's the Brendan Carr FCC chair statement and all that floating around. So that Tuesday he didn't fix it. And so Wednesday he's being told, hey, on your show tonight, you've got to correct this. You've got to issue an apology and correct it. Jimmy Kimmel says, no, I'm not going to do that. And in fact, more than that, I'm going to double down on what I said before and blame MAGA some more for you even coming to ask me to apologize. I'm blaming that on MAGA too. And so Nexstar said, nope, we're out. And Sinclair said, yeah, we're probably going to be out too, especially if he's going to come down and double down on Wednesday night. That's 40% of all the ABC stations in the country. Because ABC affiliates don't have to show ABC content.
Right.
They actually own the stations. ABC makes the content. These people actually own the stations that it gets broadcast out onto. And so when they did that, I mean, really, Disney, ABC, ESPN, all the same big company, right, has no choice when you're being told you're going to lose half your market share.
Right.
To yank it. Which, there's going to be so many points where we're going to, like I say, keep talking about this. Just to the point of, oh, how ironic. I thought conservatives weren't for cancel culture. Conservatives has always been okay with cancel culture when it's the marketplace canceling you.
Right.
And this is the marketplace. These are people who own stations, who have advertisers, who said, we don't want to put this guy because of what he said, and he refuses to apologize. He's going to come back and double down. We don't want this guy on our stations that we own. That's the marketplace speaking.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can go with this. First off, Bill Maher, I don't know if you watched him this week. He was like, I support Jimmy and his ventures as he goes forward, but guess what? You're not the first one that's been canceled because I got canceled too.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sure he'll land, and Bill, I'm paraphrasing, but basically he says, I'm sure he'll land on his feet.
He won't.
But I'm just saying, like,
that's what he said.
Bill Maher is just being generous.
I don't think we're ever going to see Jimmy Kimmel again.
No, not in this same
with the same
vein. Yeah. And I just think too, like, it goes back to, I was listening to somehow my algorithm has picked up that I really want to listen. Oh gosh, what's his name? All right.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey has been all over my feed. He apparently has a new prayers and something books that's coming out.
Oh yeah.
But he said this week, like he was like, politics is not entertainment. Then I watched another one. Oh gosh, who was the original late night guy? I want to say
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson
Yeah.
comes out and talks about how, they wanted him to get political on his show.
Yeah.
And he told him, no,
Yeah.
like I'm not, that's not who I am. That there's so many other things that we can talk about that really are funny or more important
Right.
than politics. And so between Johnny Carson coming out and saying that politics is not entertainment, it really got me thinking, like, that's the shift that has to change.
Mm-hmm.
We can't have an AOC. I posted this clip on our TikTok and on our YouTube, and I don't know if we want to play the whole clip or not. But like in my opinion, this is my opinion, the only reason she got up there and grandstanded the way she did is for entertainment purposes, to rouse her following against the resolution, when she could have just said nothing and voted no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, and I was literally having a conversation about this today, sometimes silence and saying nothing speaks way louder than saying a whole lot.
Yep.
And so I think that, like, with ABC and with Nexstar and Sinclair, and then Bob Unger, is it not Unger? Iger, pulling his show. Like, if he had just said, like you said, like kind of poking fun more at Trump and just saying, like, here was Trump's response,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah.
Right.
That joke writes itself.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I laughed at it.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean, and that portion of the joke is funny. But when you add in the other part of just completely false information of everything that we know thus far, you even had, Kash Patel up there talking about it this week.
Yeah.
And so I just think that is bad taste, and politics is becoming entertainment, and that's the shift that has to be made.
Yeah. I never really liked Kimmel. This has nothing to do with what he said this week. I never really watched him because when I tried to watch him, even when he would host things, I don't like his humor. I do like Fallon a little bit. And I kind of wish Trump would, because Trump was like, Fallon and Seth Meyers should be next. They're also trash. And I'm like, I kind of like Fallon. And I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people think that he's not funny. I do like him.
He's funny in his bits.
It's just a personal preference thing of mine.
Yeah.
I think he's a good interviewer too.
Yeah, I agree.
I think Conan was a good interviewer.
Agreed.
Leno would hit both sides. So would Conan.
Yep.
But the difference with Conan is that his Democrat president that he really had to make fun of, because he came up in the mid 90s. So he came out of Clinton, and then he had Bush, which there's plenty to make fun of there, like the video we were throwing around this week back and forth. But then you had Obama, and Obama is so polished, he's really hard to make fun of.
Agreed.
So that was Conan. But Leno would make fun of Clinton all the time and then go make fun of Bush. Like he would make fun of both sides. Leno would make fun of Clinton and Newt Gingrich, at the same time, both sides. And you always got kind of now it turns out Leno's pretty conservative now that we know that he's off the air. But Conan was fine. I never really liked Kimmel. Colbert is horrible. I would say Colbert is so much worse than Kimmel.
Yeah.
Just with he really would stretch and jump through a lot of hoops to try to make a political joke that it just wasn't funny by the time you got there. That was my problem with Colbert, and Kimmel was kind of the same way. So his viewership declined significantly, 2.5 million in 2015 down to less than 1 million in 2025. The biggest problem, I think, now that this has come out with his 2025 viewership, is the most important demographic, because these are the ones that are buying stuff. So it's the most important one to advertisers. The 18 to 49-year-old demographic was down to 100,000 viewers. Out of that less than 1 million viewers, 10% of that only was the most important demographic of 18 to 49. So aside from everything, I think ABC had a case, if this didn't happen, to do the same thing that they did to Colbert and say, you know what, we're out of the late night business. It's out. We're getting rid of Kimmel.
So I did a quick search on Jimmy Fallon political, like who's appeared on his show. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Trump did in 2016 during the campaign.
Yep.
And then Michelle Bachmann.
That's when he messed up his hair.
Yeah. And then Michelle Bachmann.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
He's like, I just want to mess up your hair. And he let him.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
And then Michelle Bachmann. Those are the 4 politicians that he's had on.
Right.
And so that tells you right there that it's been middle of the road mostly for Jimmy Fallon.
I mean, they all lean Democrat.
They all lean left, yeah.
But at least when Jimmy Fallon does a joke about Trump, it's funny.
Yeah.
You know, when he does a joke about any Republican, he's still funny. Like, if you're a diehard Trumpkin, like, you're not going to think it's funny.
But you also probably don't think most comedy's funny.
That's true. That's true.
And so I'm tired of the blame game.
Fallon has barely better numbers than Kimmel.
Are you looking up the numbers right now?
Yeah. I mean, Fallon's at 1.3 million. So he's, you know, a third more, 33% more than Kimmel, and about the same, about 35% more viewers in that 18 to 49 age. He only has 134,000 viewers in that 18 to 49 demographic. So
Man.
He may be on the way out too.
Well, we've talked about this before too, about legacy media. Like, the way to go is the way that Bill Maher's doing it.
Yeah.
The Daily Show, you could do it that way too.
Yeah. I feel like Jon Stewart's gotten a little hard to watch for me now that he's come back. Trevor Noah was okay. He wasn't that funny though. Jon Stewart before he left,
he was cracking me up this
great.
week though. Did you watch it this week?
No.
He made a joke. I don't remember the joke, but it was a tongue-in-cheek joke about Trump, and he's like sitting there very like acting very nervous, like he's shuffling his papers, and the crowd laughs, and he's like, shh, 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 shh. They're gonna hear. Shh, shh. But like that's the shtick of the joke, right? And so like that's funny. You're not saying anything you're just poking fun at the current situation, right?
Yeah.
And that there's a very stark difference between that, you know, and what Bill Maher does, and then what the other late night hosts are doing. And eventually, a lot of those viewers right now who are still watching those shows are only watching it because the news has ended.
Yeah.
And that's how they're finishing their evening. Oh. Like my grandfather, he would go downstairs every single night at 9:55.
Yeah.
Catch the lottery numbers at 9:58. He'd watch the news.
Watch 10 o'clock news.
10:15, he'd watch the weather. He'd get up, go brush his teeth, and then he'd sit down and he'd watch about 5-10 minutes of the late night show, whichever one he was watching, whichever one was happened to be on after that show. And then he'd turn it off and go to bed.
To put it in context, I was never a Letterman guy either. I always watched Leno instead of Letterman. Right. And that's what I would do. I'd watch 10 o'clock news, and then I would watch Leno. Now with streaming, like I don't ever do that.
Me neither.
Now with streaming, I'll pull up Peacock or whatever, where NBC has their stuff, and I'll see who the guest was on Fallon. Mm-hmm. If it's somebody I want to hear something from, or if the music was somebody I want to listen to, then I'll go watch it. Mm-hmm. But I'm not fast forward through their bits. Plus, I'm a huge fan of Fallon's band, The Roots.
Same.
So that's something like, even though, I mean, they're not playing like a whole lot. Like they're just doing, I think Questlove is funny. I know he's super liberal, super left. I don't care. Like, I'm a musician. I think that band is great. I catch some of their stuff. Like they're an actual like band that tours and performs, right?
Sure.
So I catch, their stuff and listen to them. So I like Fallon. He probably won't be on the air much longer though.
Yeah. He's
kind of the writing's on the wall when it comes to late night. I think late night's going away just completely.
I think what they'll end up doing is just playing syndicated shows.
That, or what if they replace it with something and they allow it to be a long form? What if it's like one guest? What if they switch up late night where you come out and you do a little current events funny monologue, but then like they try to do like that podcast format where it's like, all right, we're going to hit this first, a couple minutes, then we're going to hit our first commercial break, and then we're going to keep one guest the whole time, which they've done before. If it's an important enough guest, they get the whole slot. And we're going to have what amounts to a 22-minute conversation when you have commercial breaks and things. Then we might have a band at the end.
I just don't think that works on that style because you still got to have commercial breaks.
Right. You're still breaking up the
conversation. In fact, like I was listening to Rogan today while I was doing yard work, and it was a very heavy podcast. It's one of the guys that worked with Lone Survivor and Marcus Luttrell. I can't remember the guy's name. I'm terrible with names. And
typical school teacher.
no joke. It takes me forever to remember everybody's name. And then it's like a Prize Picks commercial.
Yeah, I know.
Because I don't have the premium.
Yeah, I don't either. It is funny.
And so the guy was talking about his sister and drug abuse, and like it was a very heavy conversation. And it was a good conversation to follow. And I'm following. Then it's like, get your picks in. I'm like, oh man, what is happening?
Actually, I do need to get my picks in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like something like that. And I was like, AG1, or Butcher Box. All good products.
Yeah, that's a great point, Twitch. Fallon has the extra edge in that he sings and plays music too. If he wasn't a former SNL legend,
that's one of his.
I don't think he'd have gone as far as he has. I agree.
I agree too. And I was having this conversation with somebody. It was a few weeks ago because it was about Colbert, not the Kimmel story. And they were like, Fallon never was any good on SNL. He was just always the guy in the background. And I was like, in a lot of the skits, he was. But listening to his what's it called, the bathroom wall, he does all the voices and impersonations. He's hilarious. Fallon's it's bathroom wall something album or whatever.
I don't recall.
Yeah, he takes songs and changes the words up to them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so yeah.
Well, and I always like, especially when he would have like musicians that I liked, and you said it just a second ago, like Justin Timberlake when he had Justin Timberlake on, and
yes,
that whole the hashtag thing.
Well, then he always brings in Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers and Will Ferrell and has him do drum offs and things.
Yeah,
like that. And Fred Armisen, so I watched one of his. He's a drummer too.
It's
entertaining to me.
This is not, and I think the ratings issue is one that's like part of it. Like if he was killing the ratings and he had 10 million viewers and he's killing it, this is a no conversation. They're just gonna let it slide.
Yeah,
they'll offer some apology on the backside of some ABC thing.
Yeah,
but like if they're already struggling to keep viewers tuned in,
yep.
If this kills, like if this comment takes away an extra 10,000 viewers.
Yeah, and it's
your shot.
Anybody who's ever been a boss or owned a company, you're out there, your killers who are awesome can make a mistake and it's going to be like, don't do that again. And then somebody who does not perform can make a mistake and it's like, hey, you screwed up, out the door you go. You're like, and that's kind of what this was. Like, I don't think, like you said, if Jimmy Kimmel was really that talented, okay, or if that show was really that great and really that big of a piece of the ABC lineup, they would have gotten past this.
Yeah.
And like The View does it all the time. We have a legal note. They come back from commercial break every single day. We have a legal note. We've got we said this was a whole bunch of lies and it's not true at all. And we just made it up to make ourselves sound better. They had that going on for a while.
It still happened. It happened this week.
But it never happened in 2016, Trump's first term.
No.
They talked all about all kinds of things and never had to correct anything. Now they got to correct stuff.
Well, and you put this in the notes, is free speech protected from the government, not your private employer? And that goes back to a lot of the conversation once the initial reaction is the conversation between cancel culture and the conversation between consequence culture. And I don't think it's either one of these. I think he got quote unquote canceled because his ratings stunk.
Yeah. That's what I mean. You get past it if your ratings don't stink.
Yeah. And again, somebody makes some big wig at ABC makes an apology and you move on.
Yeah.
But I don't think it even really has that much to do with free speech.
I don't think Trump was behind it either.
I don't either. And I think the FCC guy making that comment, he probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's
but also that
he wants.
He can, and it's also kind of his job because the big networks get public money.
Yeah.
And because they accept public money, they're required to give both sides, so to speak.
Right.
It's
Well,
in some way.
And I think, too, this goes back to a conversation we had a couple of weeks ago about like Howard Stern when he moved over to satellite radio and the things that you can and can't say on the public airways.
Yeah.
And I realize that a lot of people don't understand how that used to work, but like the FCC controlled what music could be put out there. If it was deemed inappropriate, then they weren't going to be allowed to play it.
Yep.
And so, they deemed Howard Stern inappropriate, and they told him he couldn't be on the airwaves anymore.
Yeah.
If you're going to continue to act this way, these are the actions that we're going to follow. And so him jumping over to satellite did away with all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think too, like the Spotifys of the world and YouTube, and there's an avenue for this conversation. If Kimmel wants to hop on and find another way into it, he will. But
Yeah.
I think I agree with you though. I just
don't think he's that. I hate to say a guy's not talented, but I didn't really like him. That's probably just me. Although I think a lot of people do. Not a lot, but a lot of people. But to go back to kind of that broader point, like it's not a First Amendment issue. The First Amendment only protects you from the government. Like Jimmy Kimmel's not sitting in a jail cell for what he said. That's what the First Amendment protects you from.
right.
It doesn't protect you from your employer saying, "Yeah, you shouldn't have said that," And you could walk into your classroom tomorrow and say something and get yourself fired.
100%.
Yeah, like that's not, you don't have First Amendment right to say whatever you want. Like, and that's also true. Like example that gets used a lot is you can't yell fire in a crowded room.
Right.
Right. That's the thing. Say, all speech isn't protected. But to bring it a little more current day, you can't be a student at a school and say, tomorrow I'm going to go harm people at the school either.
Right.
That'll also get your butt arrested.
Correct.
So there are limits to free speech. Guns are the same way. We got the First Amendment. Take a look at the Second Amendment as a comparison. I can't walk into anywhere with a gun, even though I have the right to bear arms. Like there are even restrictions upon that. But at the end of the day, because a private company can restrict that.
I saw a great joke this week.
Yeah.
Talking about the First and Second Amendment. The joke was it was a guy, and it was talking about like all this talk this week of like religion and free speech, and then obviously we had an assassination attempt, and it's like an attack on the Second Amendment, and then he was like, "But I'm supporting of quartering of troops."
Oh,
because that's the Third Amendment.
yeah,
it's a great bit.
Yeah,
it's a great joke.
Maybe for the history teacher.
That was a great. I enjoyed it. Speaking of Fallon, he does have a Gadsden Purchase bit. It's a great bit. When I taught 8th grade U.S. history, sometimes I even showed it when I taught world history. It's a long joke about the Gadsden Purchase, and it's a very niche joke, and most 99% of the people will not understand it. But it is a great joke. I can't even do it justice. I wish if I had known, I would have sent you the clip.
We could post it.
It's too long to put it in the. it's like a 5-minute joke. But yeah, I think his time has passed, and so they're struggling in the late night avenue anyways, and this is just a reason to get him off.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. Man, what a news week! It was a lot of news, but not a lot of news in the same breath. A lot of the same news as last week.
Yeah.
We had this happen a couple weeks ago. And then we had a lot of...
I actually don't think there's not a lot of stuff happening. I just think there's been... Charlie Kirk is... And then other stories off of that, like finding out more about the shooter. This thing that happened with Kimmel. Kind of piggybacks off of that. And that's going to be the story. And if there's another development this week based on that story, it'll steal the entire week as well.
I mean, what should have been very big news, rightfully was not, is that Trump went to England.
Yeah.
And visited the palace.
First U.S. president to get 2 visits.
Yes. And that should have been huge news.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And he looked like he was having the time of his life. I mean,
Did you see the royal band?
yes.
You know what I'm talking
Well,
about?
hold on. I saw them do the royal parade.
No. Okay, so they're sitting there and the royal band is doing their maneuvers. The band that plays for the King of England, you know what song they played for Trump?
No.
YMCA.
Why?
Like, that's his song.
Oh,
From the
okay,
campaign.
Okay. Yeah. That was what they played at his party. Oh, no, I did not see that.
I got a
but
good chuckle out of that.
That's hilarious. That is funny. But like that wasn't even a blip on the radar this week.
Yeah.
And when it should have been part of a broader picture of the week. And it really wasn't.
Another one of the side stories off of Charlie Kirk is the this is going to prove the point. And I'm sorry, but it was the state rep, was it Michigan or Minnesota, that was killed? And their spouse, and her husband.
It was in Michigan. It was in Tim Walz State, Minnesota.
That's been brought up a lot. It's saying, what happened to Charlie Kirk was horrible, but look how Trump's responding to that when he wouldn't even go to the funeral of this state rep and said it would be a waste of his time. That was his quote. He did say that. Like, I think that's a point where we could just pull it out and say, yeah, he shouldn't have said that. I don't think he has to go to the funeral. Like, for the president to travel somewhere is a big deal. I think Charlie Kirk is a bigger deal. More people know Charlie Kirk.
Yes.
Much more of a national figure. No one outside of the state really knows the name of that Michigan rep who was killed. But everybody just about across the country knows who Charlie Kirk is, and in the world. So I don't have a problem with Trump going to that funeral, obviously, Charlie Kirk's, and then not. I don't think it's a partisan issue. I don't think he should have said what he said about it would be a waste of his time. I think you say, hey, that was horrible, shouldn't have happened, but I don't think Trump has to go to that funeral.
In that same news story, one of the journalists asked him, well, why didn't you lower the flag?
Yeah.
He said, well, no one asked.
Yeah.
I would have done it if someone had asked.
Yeah.
The other thing of another news story that was kind of a blip on the radar that I felt like was a big problem, but I did want your thought on this, is the obtaining of H-1B worker visas has to be $100,000.
Yeah, he raised the price on that.
What was the fee before? Do you know off the top of your head? I just think that seems like a lot of money. And I think that's interesting, that was something of the week that would have been a little bit bigger of news had we not had the funeral this week.
Yeah, it was Minnesota State Rep Melissa Hortman and also her husband Mark Hortman.
Yes. Melissa and Mark, right?
Yeah. Trump's public comments are as follows. He condemned the shootings, calling it absolutely horrible, saying horrific violence will not be tolerated. Check. There were the questions about why he didn't order them at half staff. He said it wasn't asked. But the governor had to request it because there's protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Walz did not request him to do so. He did not call Governor Tim after the shootings. He called Walz whacked out in a mess and saying, because there's the actual article saying such a call would have been a waste of time. So for him to call Tim Walz would have been a waste of time. Which, Tim Walz did call him a Nazi and a fascist. So,
yeah, he's not going to, he's not going to answer the phone when Tim Walz calls. And one other news cycle thing that came up this week, the United States vetoed the Security Council draft resolution that would have demanded immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, and immediate, dignified, and unconditional release of all hostages held by Hamas and other groups. There were 14 in favor, 1 against, and that was the United States. That was on September the 18th. I don't know why that would have happened.
Well, I think a lot of that, and I'm speculating, has to do with when those type of agreements are made, Israel will do it because they're an actual country.
Right.
but Hamas is not.
Right.
So it's like we're not going to have an agreement that puts stipulations on Israel, who's actually going to follow the agreement, when this terrorist organization is not going to.
Right.
So those things are really, they have no teeth. You can't get Hamas to do it. That's the problem with the ceasefire.
Yeah, because they're not recognized.
Like they'll ceasefire for 3 minutes and then Hamas will start firing rockets again. That whole thing's a mess. I don't know.
Are you following that story at all?
Yeah, I am. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know.
I can't put my finger on what is going to happen with all that. Like, I don't know what's the what's the end game. Like, I kind of have a pretty good idea of what Russia and Ukraine, how that ends. Like, I kind of have at least a general consensus of there's one of like 3 things that I think might happen. Right. And it's all speculation. So it's not like we can even really even have a conversation about it. But this particular thing, I don't know how this ends.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's not much left for them to bomb.
Israel is taking this stance of, no, we're getting rid of them. Like, we've done this whole thing where they shoot at us, we shoot at them. But after that October 7th attack, like, no, we're wiping them off the face of the earth. Hamas, I mean, it's been really difficult, and that's why I'm kind of making the face I'm making about following the story. It's been really difficult to find out what's actually happening.
Yes.
And I don't mean like I know what's actually happening in the Ukraine either, but you kind of have a better sense that's being covered and talked about, and you can kind of read from this reporter and then get a different perspective from a different reporter kind of thing, and kind of get your mind around what's actually going on there. With Israel, like, it's, I don't know, it's just really hard to get a grasp of what's actually going on. It's made it really tough to kind of form an opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You want to do? I got another one. I'm sorry. I keep scrolling through my thing here. Saudi Arabia signs a mutual defense pact with nuclear-armed Pakistan. Any thoughts on that? You see that come across the radar this week?
Yeah.
I
thought they already had one.
I thought they did too, but apparently it was on the verge or had just expired, and so they were trying to re-up that. Oh, this was not on the thing either. They cut the rate.
Yeah.
You said that was going to happen.
Yeah. It was supposed to happen in September, and it did. Jerome Powell should have cut it last time, but he was playing politics. And I think this time it caught up to him, and he's like, well, crap, I don't have a good excuse anymore. Because, inflation has been pretty leveled off. So, for months now, and months and months. And like, yes, everything's still expensive, but as far as how much more expensive it's getting each month is more that normal 2 and 3% rate that they want to see, especially on durable goods. So,
yeah,
he didn't have an excuse.
I mean, that's kind of it. That's kind of the news of the week. I would like to bring back smoke sessions.
Well,
I'm working on it. I'm trying to.
I don't think you like that cigar. You want to talk about that?
No, it was good. It was just a small one.
Oh, okay.
It was a good one, actually. Yeah, I smoked almost the whole thing. It was just a little. It was getting to that part where it gets real burnt, and it's kind of narrow, but it was good. But yeah, it's a good week. Anything big up coming this week for you?
Oh, just we had our summer came back this past week. Past couple of weeks, really, in Texas.
Oh man,
we have this little bit where, like, towards the end of August, around Labor Day, it like cools off. You get some rain, and then we always tell people who aren't from here, like, no, fall's not here. It's about to get just as hot again. It's been really hot this week, but no, we're in the groove of things. School's going well for everybody.
We didn't talk high school football this week.
They won again.
60. They hung 60.
They hung 60 on them. So I asked somebody today who's in the know, and his son plays on the team, and he's played on the team, and he played college ball. And I said, hey, are we actually this good? Or are these teams just not good at all? Because they haven't had a game. They're 4-0. They haven't had a game where they scored fewer than 40 points.
Right.
And he was like, both. And
okay.
I was like, oh. And that kind of makes sense. If you're going to score at least 40 points on a team and hang 60 on a team, and they're not scoring that much, like, You either found 4 teams that are really bad or they're not that great, but you're also pretty dang good. The real test comes this week.
Who do they have this week?
Rockwall.
Ooh.
And Rockwall just beat North Crowley.
I saw that.
So it's a home game.
I don't think they're going to hang 60 this week.
No, but it's a home game, and I want to be there, and I'm probably going to lose my voice. I'm a proud homer.
I will be at a very our district volleyball starts this week, so it's a big week for us. Hopefully we're 2-0 when we record next time. Oh, one other thing, and then we can wrap it up. I'm a best man not a best man. I'm a groomsman in a wedding.
All right.
Yeah, in the middle of October. The first time I've ever been a groomsman.
Okay.
So I'm a little old though.
Yeah.
Thanks for the vote of confidence. You're supposed to say no.
I'm going to say I haven't been in one of those in a minute.
Yeah.
First or second or third?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wondered if I was like, is there, like how there's like the matron of honor?
Uh-huh.
Is there like a groomsman side of that? I don't know.
I think you're still just a man of honor. A best man.
Best man. I'm not the best man.
Yeah, but
I'm just a groomsman.
The matron of honor is if the maid of honor is married.
Oh.
If you're not married, it's a maid of honor. If you're married, it's a matron of honor.
Oh. Well, see,
I think on the other side, it's just best man.
Okay. Well, I'm a groomsman. My wife is also a bridesmaid. Is that what's called?
Yeah.
Bridesmaid?
It is.
Is she still a bridesmaid if she's married?
I think so.
Oh.
I don't think they go as far as say bridesmatron.
Oh. Well, we can make that a thing, I guess.
You could.
But yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Fix your title on the little placard.
Yeah. My younger brother-in-law is getting married. So
fun stuff.
He's a lot younger than me. He listens, so he'll be happy. I just there's a bachelor party, and they're going up to Oklahoma.
I was gonna say local or going somewhere.
They're going somewhere, and I think I'm too old. I think I'm too old.
You're not.
I think I'm too old. I'm not.
Go have fun.
Well, here's the problem. I can't take off 5 days and go do something like this.
Oh, it's a long bachelor party.
It's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they're coming back Monday.
I can't tell you because we go to Vegas a lot. We've talked about that. How many, and you would expect it.
Right.
Right. But how many bachelorette and bachelor parties, and you can tell. I mean, you can just see it. It is these guys, and they're like, but it's funny because they have no money. And that's not the place to go with no money, especially if you're trying to have like a bachelor party. And you'll see them trying to figure stuff out. The guy, I feel like the girls have better planning.
Oh, for sure.
But you'll see the guys outside of one of the Vegas clubs, outside Omnia at Caesars or something, and it's so hilarious. I'll just be leaving the sports book or something, because if you leave the sports book, the big nightclub at Caesars is right there. It's called Omnia, and you'll see 6 or 7 dudes standing out there in a circle. They got their phones. They're like, all right, we can. I'm like, here's the thing about Vegas nightclubs. If you ever needed to know, it's extremely difficult to get in if you're just a big group of dudes, because they don't want it to be a large group of dudes in the club.
I like what you're about to say.
I know,
but you're right. You're very
what I was
right.
about to call it. So they want that ratio to be 1-to-1. So it's find the group of girls over there, and then you can get into the club. But they're over there trying to figure out how to get in the club.
Yeah, but
it is fun to watch. It's some good people watching. We do 40 to 50% of our time in Vegas is spent people watching. It's just
that's
fun.
the best thing to do.
It's fun. The newbies are the best.
I would be the newbie. I've never been. But all right,
We're
man.
going back in a couple weeks.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Have a good week.
See you.